So first and foremost, I want to wish all of you a happy new year, and I want to hope that you and your family are all well and being safe. So what are we doing? What are we talking about? This is part 2 of our series that Dan and I are running regarding the UX One experience and how the most recent releases of JD Edwards can help you customize your system for each user so that you can get the most benefit out of the system for each user and your business. And let's just take a little history tour of where JD Edwards started and how we got to where we're at. So back in '77, that's when JDE was founded. The product that became EnterpriseOne, which was known back then in 1996 as One World, it was introduced, 24 years ago. It was rebranded by JD Edwards, you'll see in a minute, after they went public in 1997, and it was rebranded to what was called One World XE. So in 2000, 20 years ago, we had this open architecture that worked on something other than a AS400 that allowed people to customize, CNC, configurable network computing, any platform to be able to do what they needed to do. JD Edwards was acquired in 2003 by PeopleSoft. Oracle didn't like that, so Oracle came in and purchased PeopleSoft and JD Edwards in 2005. In 2012, 9 years ago, application 9.1 came out, and that's important because of what I'm going to talk about in a minute. In 2015, your applications for 9.2 came out, and now in December of last year, on applications 9.2, update 5 came out and the tools update 5 came out. Now, those are important milestones because when you look at your software and you say to yourself, what release am I on? If you are not on 9.2, you no longer have support from Oracle in the sense of premier or extended support. All you have is sustaining support. And sustaining support, in my opinion, doesn't give you much, because if you notice a bug or a flaw or you want an enhancement, you're not getting it. And if you need to update 1099s or W-2s or things of that nature, you're not getting it. You need to have your own internal staff do that. So it's important to be on 9.2 because if you're not, you don't get support. So let's say you're on 9.2. 9.2, few years ago, 3-4 years ago, Lyle said, wait, we're going to give you support till 2030. Within 6 months, he turned around and said, no, I'm going to give you support till December of 2031. So you have at least 10 more years of premier support. That means bug fixes, enhancements. That means the whole Megillah for another 10 years. More importantly, the direction of Oracle, which they initiated, called continuous innovation, they've implemented that on this release simply because they said there's no longer a need for clients to take a, quote, big bang, software update. Let's just keep giving them enhancements that work on the release level that they have. Why disrupt the business? Why make it, so crazy that the software needs to change? Instead, let us make it easier by letting the users do configuration versus us doing it in the software and having organizations need to take the update. So you want to be current, but you have to remember, just being on application 9.2.5 or tools release 9.2.5 does not mean you're following the Oracle philosophy of continuous innovation. Oracle's philosophy of continuous innovation means that Oracle will deliver updates to you, but you as an organization need to continually adopt them. And what that means is you need to put them in play in your business. There's no sense in updating if you're not going to utilize what you have. So Oracle's going to keep delivering function features and capabilities. They're going to do that every 6 months, every quarter. They might do them individually or cumulatively, but it's up to you to look at those, to analyze those, and to understand what you can put in play in your business. And you don't need to do that at the same time. You don't need to do it at the same cadence Oracle delivers it, but you do need to do it, in my opinion, at least twice a year. So, where is Oracle going now? Oracle's focus is on simply three things: simplifying the way that users can use the system and how the system can be automated and administered, and how you can integrate with other SaaS applications both in and outside of JD Edwards. The ability for you to optimize the system to enhance not only your business, but your individual users' productivity. And lastly, they need you to understand that this digital transformation is making it able for you to extend your JDE system and enhance your overall architecture by being able to integrate more and more products. Because Oracle knows that JD Edwards is not the cure-all for what you need to do in your business. We know that you will have other products. We know that you will have other things that you need to integrate. So, simply put, Oracle is trying to have optimization across the application so that they're the most current needs statutorily, regulation-wise, depend upon your vertical, things like that. They want you to be able to protect your business, improve your business, and future-proof your business so that you don't need to jump through hoops. At the same time, they understand that you need to automate some process. And in order to do that, you need to be able to have some low or no code user interface and integration capability, i.e. orchestrator, to be able to do that. And when you do all this together, you will achieve system automation by being able to efficiently run and maintain your enterprise software. And you'll now achieve that continuous innovation model. So, if you looked at the evolution, that little trivia thing I showed you in the beginning, way back in '77, JD Edwards was just traditional ERP. It was a transactional system. We are now beyond an intelligent ERP. We are now beyond an ERP solution where we could have assisted or automated decision making. We are truly in an intelligent ERP mode. So what do you need to do? Again, putting it in perspective, if you look at this flow chart, and you'll see that back in 2012, 10 years ago, right, almost 10 years ago, when 9.1 came out, that was a major release. But then in 2015, 9.2 came out. That was another major release. But if you notice, Oracle said, let's do continuous innovation. There's no longer major releases. They're now application and tools, maintenance packs, and cumulative updates that are coming out. And you can see that it's about every year that some of these come out. And the most important thing is you have that support through 2031. And Oracle had this vision way back before 2012. Before 2012, they started talking about upgrade to the 9s, the 9 releases, 9.0, 9.1. They said, we'll make it easy for you to upgrade by building in some tools that you can upgrade in 100 days, i.e., we'll give you this, easy path to upgrade. They introduced Internet of Things, which will help with automation and will help with adaptive learning. They've given you user tools to make you become more of a citizen developer, all to get to this UX One experience that Dan and I are talking about. So, you need to understand your JD Edwards system. Your JD Edwards system has a lot of layers. Most importantly, you have the user interface, what you see on the screen, right? The fields, how you can move around and mouse click. Then you have those applications that help you put the transaction in and get the transaction out. And basically, that's all coding that's been done by Oracle and this, that, and everything else. But what would happen is if the organizations needed to see things differently or do things differently, your IT group had to go in and manage and maintain those applications and make customizations. And they did that using the tools and foundation. Well, Oracle, to get to this evolution of ERP, they said, you know what? Let's make the tools layer more easily customizable by end users so that we don't have to have IT do that. IT can function on more important things. We'll let the users be able to manipulate how the applications look and feel and operate. That's what Dan and I are talking about. We're talking about all these user-defined capabilities. So again, I just put this screen in here, and I apologize for the size of it, just to show you that if you look at the columns starting from the right side to the left, if you're on release 9.0 or 9.1, you can go down those columns and you can see the applicable tools release levels that are supported for those application releases. Now that's important because if you're on 9.1, notice that tools 9.2.4, that's it. That's as high as you can go. So these enhancements in 9.2.5, and there have been application enhancements and tools enhancements, you can't get those in 9.1. You have to go to 9.2. If you're on 9.0, your tools release stops at 9.2.2. So it's important for you to do this continuous innovation by evaluating what opportunities you have and look to implement those in your business, because these tools, they're the part of the system that help you update and manage and get the most out of EnterpriseOne. They're the things that help you get rapid time to value. They're the things that lower your cost of ownership because now the masses can do things versus just IT. It allows you to have the flexibility to configure and personalize solutions to let people do their jobs the way they need to do it so that they can maximize their capabilities. And it provides you scalability and technology that works across the board with other software. So all of that are considered UDOs, user-defined objects. Those are the things Dan and I are going to talk about. Those are the things that say, Tom, how do you want to have your experience? Do you want to create queries and watch lists along with some searches? And do you want to be able to do some form personalization and maybe a Cafe One or Compose page? And do you want to wrap that around some reporting tool? And along with that, do you want to use orchestrations and notifications, i.e. workflows, to turn around and get your own customized user experience? This series that we're doing, this is what we're talking about. The first one talked about queries and watch lists. Today, we're going to talk about searches, right? This definition and conglomeration of all these UDOs are what is going to help you be able to quickly, easily be proactive in your organization and become more efficient. So as I said, today, we're going to talk about EnterpriseOne Search. And there's a couple of important things before I turn it over to Dan that we have to know, right? In J.D. Edwards, there's two kinds of searches. There's one search that's called EnterpriseOne Task Search. You get that. You have that. Your organization can use it. You use that by clicking on that little menu navigation icon, the one right next to the little house, and then in the FastPath command line, you can simply type in verbiage. And when you type in that verbiage, the system is going to return to you any task in the system that has that verbiage. Now, what is a task? A task can be an application. A task can be a report. But the bottom line is this is an inherent thing in JD Edwards. It's set up right away. You turn it on, you let it go. And if Tom wants to get to journal entries, I can simply type in journal and then see everything that has journal entries as a task name and do what I have to do. Now, if you're concerned with security, you don't have to worry about it. Even though Tom can't enter a FastPath command like data browser, Tom can still use it to search for tasks. So there's no security concern. We're not talking about that today because you have it, it's there, you can use it. And if you can't find it and you say, Tom, you said it's there, that's because your administrator and CNC have to set the system up to utilize it. What we're talking about today is what's called EnterpriseOne Search. If you look at your ID and you click the drop-down arrow, you'll see a bunch of preferences and a bunch of options, one of which under your personalization says Manage Content. And if you open that up, you'll see something that says Search Groups. That's what we're going to show you today. Now, if you don't see that, it's because UDOs have to be granted access to users. Tom had to have an administrator say that I can use searches. And not only can Tom use them, he can either create them, just view them, or he can create, change, and delete them. You have to be granted access to these UDOs. So what we're going to be doing today, Dan's going to show you how to create a search group. Now, it's important to see that I showed you that little screen that said, hey, Tools 925 came out, and if you're on, 9.1, you're not going to get it. Well, there's important enhancements they made with that search. And to me, they're very important. One of them is that now you can search for an exact match. Whereas before, if Tom just put in, CAP, the system would bring back anything that contained CAP regardless of case. Now, if I just put in CAP with no asterisk, nothing else, it's going to look for the exact case and the exact string. So that ability helps you limit the search results you would see. Now, when Tom gets the search results, I can turn around and export them so I can do analytics outside of JD Edwards in Excel. The other thing you could do is when I get that information, I can look, let's say for argument's sake, I'm looking at sales orders and I wanted to look at item 123. And I find that item 123. I want to see how many purchase orders are out there that have item 123 that have not been received yet or that have gone past the requested date, right? Requested receipt date. Well, now, utilizing related information, I can actually say, when I see this information, I want to generate it using a query I created or some type of personal form. Along with that, when I look at this related information, I can even search beyond that within that table that I'm looking at. So a lot of things you can do. So with that, how do we get there? We get there by saying, hey, Dan, it's your turn, and we're going to let you now show everybody what they can do.
All right. I don't know why I have that big blurry picture. That's just gross. All right.
I'll get a new one for you.
Yeah, you want to unshare your screen? I can.
You can never go wrong with the stash, Dan.
Yes, I can. I can get rid of that. All right.
It's all you, Danny.
All right. So I'm going to bring this over. All right. You should see my screen now to come in.
Yes, I do.
All right. So hopefully I'll make this so it's not too painful, and I hope I don't screw it up, and hope I'm smooth enough where you guys go, hey, that guy's all right. So let's talk about what we're going to do. We want to talk about a couple of things Tom was just talking about. And coming up here to the navigator, and you can actually type stuff in. This is the coolest thing, and I say this all the time. Every time I do UX One stuff, I really wish I was a user again sometimes, because some of this stuff makes things so much easier now than it used to be back in the day. Okay, I was like everyone that's usually a consultant, they were a user at one point, right? So just be able to find things quickly up here is really great, where you can skip things. Like I was actually doing some setup yesterday, and I was using some version, whatever. It was running into putting all the orders on hold, right? So I looked up held orders, right? And all of a sudden, boom, they came up, and it was great. But now I'm working on it. I don't have it set up over here. But that's very nice. So if you notice, I don't have that search that Tom had right here, because I don't have any search groups set up yet. So let me come on here and do manage content. Again, there's my search groups, and I'm going to create one. And just like anything else in UX One, it comes up with a whole screen. You can save, create a new one. You can edit one that exists. Or we're going to create a brand new one. So let's do one based on sales order entry. So what I want to do is I'm going to take the sales order entry. I want to find in the table, I'm going to set up stuff for customers, orders, items, quantities, and maybe something else. I mean, we'll talk about some of these things, because some of this will be really cool for people who don't normally use this type of thing, where they can actually use this search, and they can look up stuff without, like for instance, I have receptionists at some places that answered the phone calls in the morning before some of the reps got there and want to know about shipping information. Well, they didn't want to go into sales or entry and get that stuff instead of running the reports or something. They can look it up really quick using like tracking number or order number or a customer order number. So that's the type of stuff we're gonna look at. Right? So let's come here. Where's 11? All right, so we're gonna set up sales order detail stuff. So let's grab a couple items here. We're just gonna grab some things we want to look at. We'll look at the second item number. We're going to look at address number. Let's look at the ship to. That's all I really need, I guess. We can up here. We can actually cheat and look at some of the things we know we want to see. The DOCO, right? So it brings up the document number right there. So it makes it nice and easy. And while we're at it, we might as well look at the invoice, right? So let's look at the DOC. So you can see these are starting to lay up in here, right? So I want to see quantity shipped. So back down here, so scroll all the way down here, look at our order quantities. Let me see here. Quantity shipped. And let's look at maybe unit price. Okay, do extended price, probably. Let's do extended price too. What else we want to look at here? And maybe let's do a reference number. We'll do the customer PO number. So we're going to put all these things that I'm selecting right now. Reference VRO1. And, you know, because I know I'm going to need this for something else, you will have to find this out later on your own. I'm going to need the short number as well. So we pull up the short number. Short number. I'm going to need that for some connections we're going to do. So I've got all these nice fields, and I can actually put on some filters on all these things, but I want to put them in sort of a report form, right? So let's do that now. So just like if you've played around with some of the menu set way you can do some of your menus now, we can do some, we're going to talk about that some other day, but you can actually come in and click on this and say I can do actually just add just the item number, or I can have, say, second item number and the number. But I can also say, you know what, I want to call this SKU, because I don't want to call the second item number. I want to call this guy a customer. And let's see, order number is good. What about, let's call this one invoice. So what am I doing right here? I'm actually creating an override label, so when I look at these things, I can just see what I want to see. Shorten that up a little bit, and let's call this one customer PO, because that's what this is going to be. Oh, it's not that one. Reference number customer PO. That would be silly. We'll give it a number. Okay, so let's look at this thing. I want to have, now if you notice, it brought over the new labels, override labels now that I just put in here. So how am I going to do this? Well, I want to look up maybe by customer. I'll bring over both. I want to see what is my order number. I want to bring over both. I want to see what is my item. I want to see the SKU. I want to see my quantity. Just want to see the quantity. And I want to see my price. Now come down here. I want to add a couple down here. We'll add a couple more things. Let's put in our invoice. And I'll put that in with invoice number and also the extended price, because that's kind of nice to see, right? And we'll also put in our customer PO number with the label. All right, so that being said, that's all good stuff. If I wanted to just see invoices that were not blank, I could do that. But because I've got some stuff filtered in here already, I'm not going to do it. I'll be able to do this on my own. So what does all this do? So let's save this thing. Just like everything else, we have a save at the top. I'm creating, so I get to name it something. We'll call this sales lookup. Something simple. Okay, so let's go out and look and see what we can come up with first. So now if you notice, now I've got a box up here where I didn't have one before. Now it says search up here. So I've got a customer that called up and they say, hey, my customer PO number is Dan Test. Oops, let me spell that right. I said, okay, what do you got out there? So let's click, okay. And it's going out there and it's finding all the stuff out here with Dan's Test. Now, if you notice, I've got Dan Test, little letters, Dan Test, big letters. This is for the item number up here instead of the customer PO number. I was looking at the customer PO number. So we're looking up here and we've got some stuff out here. So again, let's assume that it's the receptionist at the front desk going, oh, Dan's Test, yeah, it went out and here's your freight number that went out, blah, blah, blah. So it went out yesterday. I mean, I could have put dates in here and stuff, but I didn't, of course. But these are just nice things that it's quick to look up. That's all well and good, but there's more you can do with this. So let's go back out here. Let's close this and go back and look at our search group again. Let's add some more stuff to this. So I know this doesn't really make sense, but we're just going to look at just customer ledger stuff. So let's look at some financial stuff on there. So let's do a related action. Okay. What does this related action do? What it's going to do is when we see our results, it's going to have another little box there for us to choose, and we can actually go somewhere. It's like an exit. So you can build on these as you go. So let's add a new table. You can do a business view or table. You can see that. So we're going to do a table. I'm going to do the F3B11. I am no financial guy, so I did need Tom to lean on to get that information because how it is. Sorry, so I'm just going to grab a couple things here, and I'm going to map them to. So I'm going to find the address number, AM8. I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to map it to a customer. That's all I really need to do at this point. So what it's going to do is it's going to show me all my invoices for that customer that's out there, for all my AR stuff. So let's just save and take a look at what that does. Save it and close it. Let's try it again, Dan Test. Okay, now if you notice, now this time I've got a little I out here, little I, and there's also this I didn't talk about this before, but when I did this before, I got these little, you can export all this information to a PDF or a Excel. So let's do that just for grins. Export it, very simple, there it is, and it comes up down here at the bottom. Life is pretty good. So it brings everything up that you just had here, but also, click on here, no, I didn't put anything else in there except for the address. If I put in the invoice number, actually it'll be in there. I'll do that when we go back so we can look at that. I'll show you all my invoices for that address number. So let's close this and we'll go back and we'll edit that and fix it. Because that's what this is all about, some of this stuff. I mean, it's not something that you're going to walk in, you're going to have trial and error, you're going to try this, try that, you're going to move things around. So, it's all fun stuff, right? Let's go back into our related again and say, I need to have invoice number. So where would that be? Tom, if you're still there, what is the invoice number here? Probably the doc, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So, okay, I knew I was in there. I'd figure it out. And while I'm at it, I'm going to also do something for open POs. So why don't I do that while I'm at it? Do a quick little save to make sure I don't lose it. I'm going to add another one. I'm going to add another action, another related information. So I'm going to add another thing. So this is going to give me another little option when that little I is out there. It'll be more than one thing. So let's look at, maybe I'm looking to see if there's any open orders for something. So we're going to look at that as well, but let's see that. We're going to grab the second item number. Snap to the SKU. And that's probably what we're going to need there.
Well, you might want to see like requested date or something like that too.
Yeah, I was thinking we're going to probably do that in the action as well. So we're gonna mess around with that as well. So let's just grab that, and we'll grab. No, I think we'll do this as an action. I think it plays better that way. Let's do that.
Yeah, okay. Well, then just show whatever. Yeah.
Let's do that. So let's save this as is. So we've got the document number there. But let's going to go to actions the next time, because we're going to remember to look for the actual invoice number when we go next time. But let's go to action. Now, what does action do? Action is like a row exit to go somewhere and inquire on something. So in this case, let's look up two things. One, let's look up what we have on hand, for instance, and then we'll look up also open orders. Well, let's do both, okay? So we can actually see what we've got, what's open. So let's go P4311 first. There's a gazillion orders forms out here with different inquiries. We don't want blanket. So I do this correct. P4310. Not the program, not the file. I'm actually for the program this time. So let's go to details, and then let's pick the regular ZJD001, which I believe I just passed. There it is. Okay. So I've got an action out there that's going to do that. I want to do one more action, and then we'll show you what that does. So I'm going to also look up for open what we have on hand. So also P41202. Detail availability, bringing up the version I want. Life is pretty good. All right, that was easy. Okay, so what do we do with when we get there? Well, look, I need to map these so they work, right? So on my detail availability, I'm looking for the item. I can't really find the item I'm looking for, but I have a short item, which I remember I put on that other screen. I want to do short item, short item. And I probably need to do the same with this one, right? So I'm looking at 4310, I'm going to grab my item number short, map to short. Okay, so all that being said, you're like, what the hell did you just do, Dan? Well, I did a few things. So let's look at them, what we just did. One, we fixed the configuration on the invoice. And the other one, we added some row exits to go to. So let's see what it all looks like when it's all said and done. Yes, we're still going to use our test Dan, because, you know, it's stuff. Oh, see what happens? Test Dan. And if you notice, if I had multiple searches, I could actually use the search I want. But I only have one set up right now. You can do all searches or an individual one. So if I have one that's for different things, I can use it for different things. Okay, so here's my same information we've been getting all along, right? Now we've got some other stuff here. Got some other stuff here. There's my, first of all, there's my invoice number that we wanted to see. I probably could bring over dollars, so it's open dollars, and filter this to say only show me my open stuff. I can do all that, right? That's all within here. Now I also have exits out here. These little dots that work with order details or detail availability. So what do we have for, let's look at the 220. What do we have for open orders for the 220? Well, if I look here, we've got stuff out here. And I've also, remember we did query stuff before, so I can just look at my open stuff, and I can actually specify that that's what open always comes up, because it says only open stuff. I wanted to bring that back up separate. But here's all my open orders that are out there for my item 220. Okay, I can close this. I can also go back to that 220 and say, all right, well, we've got some there, but what do we have on hand? Do we have any available? And what happened? I have to bring over branch maybe? What did I do wrong there? What I decided something wrong on that one, but we can figure that one out in a second. I don't know what I did.
I think you needed the, I think you need the 41202B.
Ah, I might, you're right. Let's take a look. Oops. Let's close that. Let's go back and peek. Thanks for keeping me honest there, Tom.
Hey, I try.
All right, so what's going on? Oh, so I've got a couple things here also. My form is wrong, so I'm going to get rid of form is wrong on that. So as you can see, you can choose the forms, you can choose the stuff. So let's kill that one and start that one over again real quick. So it's pretty easy to fix.
But as you're doing that, Dan, what's important for people to see is, think about this. In the past, for you to have IT do all this in the back and forth, and IT configure something, then it's wrong and you got to go back and they had to recode it, and then they promote it and you have to fix it again. And now look at what Dan's doing. In the course of 10 minutes, he's able to do all this himself and be able to get at that information that in the past we would ask IT to do.
Right. So an important part here, by the way, if you did queries or in the personal forms, which we're going to do probably on the next webinar, but queries we've done already, if you have a query, you can bring it in here. So like with this one, work with our details, if you saw, I have one out there for open, I can add open. So it'll always bring over open stuff. If I have a personal form out there, let's say I have something that has like DSI loaded in a tracking number or something, I can actually bring that in that has that form. So you can show all that stuff right away.
Before you exit, Dan, I don't think you mapped anything under work with item availability.
Well, you're right. I sure didn't. I sure didn't. Let's try that again. Yeah. But, you know, as you can see, it's pretty easy to come back and just fix this stuff. It's not hard. You get a lot of bang for the buck with this search. It's really kind of cool. And I was hesitant when I first saw it, and I started playing around with it, and it's really neat. I wish I had this years ago. It's really cool. Okay, again, here's my guys. Let's go my 220. Let's see if I can find something this time with my item availability. Yay, I can always admit the zeros. Find, here's all my item availability for this guy. Very neat stuff. Okay, so we can close this one. We'll do the same thing, again, 220. I'll order details this time. The query open came already. Everything's open and I can see, you know, when they're due, etc. All right, and that is what I got.
Hey, Dan, just open up that CSV file when you did the download.
Oh, okay.
Just so they could see what that looks like too.
Let me do it again because I think I just killed it out. So I don't know where I is. I'll do it again because we can do this. All right, let's do this.
So that was for the one you were highlighting.
Yep.
So.
Nice, let's go on. Oops.
Cool. But Dan pointed out some very important things. As I said before, tools 925, the ability to define the query you want to launch, the ability to turn around and have case sensitivity and exact matching and things like that. That's all part of 925 tools. So some of you that are on 924 something, you know, naturally, if you want to be able to get to that level, you're going to have to upgrade to the latest tools release. So.
Mm-hmm. So again, this was the thing that just made my day yesterday when I could actually type in held to do my release held orders, because this is our lab. Everyone's in there playing around with stuff, so vanilla settings aren't really vanilla. So,
but notice that the pencil is a actual report,
yep.
Whereas the other is an actual application, and it tells you what it is. So.
Right. So again, you can see the way you've done your menus. You can see how they are and where they belong. And again, you can see them. You can't necessarily run them if you don't have security for it. But I think you can see them. I don't think you can run them if you don't have security. But there you go. That's all I got. Is there anything else I can show?
Not at this point. We want to leave them with a little bit of anticipation to join us next time. Right?
Okay, fair enough.
All right, so close your screen and I'll jump back on and
there you go.
Go from there. Thank you, sir.
All you got it.
All right, man. So hopefully you can see my screen again.
No. Yep.
All right.
No, we can.
All right. Thanks, Dan. So it's important to remember, Oracle isn't sitting on their laurels. Oracle isn't sitting back saying we're not going to do anything for, the software to be able to be relevant to today's environment, to today's needs of not only business but people. You have to understand that, again, continuous innovation. Go out to learnjde.com, look at look at what new features and functionality are in the applications or in the tool set, and get into a regular cadence of being able to accept these things. So we want to close by saying that orchestrations and UDOs are critical components now of the J.D. Edwards EnterpriseOne system. And a lot of organizations may not have the time and ability to do that analysis to understand how these things could be put in play in your organization to make your lives better, more efficient, and to help you grow your business. So because of that, what we at GSI offer is we offer various different things where we can come in and do assessments. We can do what we call a planning engagement. And then we can help you define orchestrations. We can help you define notifications and workflows and things like that, utilizing the tools inherent in your release level. And then if you don't have internal staff to, quote, manage those and to make those better, we can offer managed services around that as well. So you can see on your screen right now that within the next 14 days, if you'd like us to talk with your organization and say, hey, here's modifications you have, here's processes you have that can all, better yet, here's integrations you have that could go away using Orchestrator. Maybe you have an EDI process that can go away now and use a REST service and be more real time versus just using EDI, right? Because your customers and or vendors want you to be more real time. So we have that with Orchestrator. Dan and his group can do the same thing around all of this UDO UX One type of data and information. Now, granted, Dan and I are doing these separate series of webcasts. Dan and I also conduct workshops, half-day workshops, where you can actually sign in into our environment. We'll give you a workbook, and you can actually go through the 8 or 9 different UDOs and actually create them on your own so that you can play and see. But again, we offer special pricing if you want some training, and Dan and his people will take business cases from your organization and help you build some. So, all that being said, GSI, we offer a plethora of different type of opportunities for you to learn and educate yourself around J.D. Edwards functionality capability. We offer webcasts and newsletters. We have a resource center. We do like workshops I alluded to in YouTube. We also have, blogs where you can commiserate with other organizations and other people as to what you can do. And We also have an ERP talk channel where you literally can go to our website, type in a question, and have somebody respond to you and let you know what's going on. We are all about providing value to clients and providing value to the JDE ecosystem. So again, go to our website, look up all this stuff, keep up with us on social media. You know, hopefully they won't turn off our account. And, you know, you can educate yourself and understand exactly what's going on. So again, Dan and I, we're going to wait and see if there's any questions. If Brooke is back on the line, maybe she can let us know if there's questions. But while she's doing that, you know, you have the information at the bottom, the web address, the website. You have the talk, you know, the phone number for the ERP talk. If you have any questions, any comments, feel free to reach out. Now, the other thing I'll point out to you is this. Tom, Dan, GSI, we're more than happy that if you go back to your organization and say, you know what, Tom, I just went on this webinar and I saw some neat functionality just around searches, but they talked about a bunch of other UDOs that are in the tools release or new functionality. Maybe we can have them do a one-off webinar or one-off webcast for our company. We have no problem doing that. We have no problem saying, okay, Tom, for an hour, show people all the new stuff in JD Edwards, show them all the functionality, talk to them in general so that you can make a business case in your organization to upgrade from 9.1 to 9.2 or to upgrade from tools 9.1 something to 9.5. We're more than happy to do that for you. So on that note, I don't know if there's any questions, Brooke, or whatever, but you can just let us know. And in advance, I'll just thank everybody for showing up and joining us on today's webcast. I guess Dan and Brooke and everybody are gone.
No, I'm here. Sorry. I couldn't find the unmute thing.
All right. Well, let me see if there's any questions. I believe at this juncture, there are no questions. But again, as I said, if anybody does have a question, feel free to put it in. I'll just hang for a second. And if you need anything else, just reach out and we'll be good to go. So Dan, thank you.
Sure,
Brooke,
sure.
thank you.
Thank you both.
And everybody else, as we said, Happy New Year. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Bye-bye.